China boasts nearly 40,000 kilometers of high-speed railways, a distance that surpasses the combined total of the top 10 high-speed rail networks globally. What is the story behind this high-speed railway system? Let's delve into it in today's video. China has experienced a catastrophic failure rate, not only in their trains but also in various infrastructure projects. Countless crashes and derailments have occurred throughout the country, involving both trains and bridges. These are the very things that China promotes to foreigners living abroad, and yet they seem to face consistent failures. In China's economic success, trains are expected to play a significant role. However, why is the information about them being successfully covered up? It's not just about accidents. It extends beyond crashes, and the cover-up is due to the precarious state of China's flagship project, the high-speed rail network, which is on the verge of collapse, both physically and financially. If you doubt this, take a look at a compilation of train and bridge failures that China prefers to keep hidden. The visuals presented by the anchor reveal a serious high-speed train accident in mainland China. In the footage, the entire front of the train is severely damaged and embedded into the platform, indicating a significant impact. This train, identified as D2809 on the Guiyang-Guangzhou line, was originally scheduled to arrive at Shuangjiang Station at 10:01 a.m., departing from Guiyang and heading north to Guangzhou South Station. According to CCTV reports, the train encountered a sudden intrusion of mudslides while traveling on the Guiyang-Guangzhou line, causing it to derail and lose control, resulting in a collision with the platform. Currently, comprehensive information suggests that the driver has tragically lost their life, with 8 others injured but in stable condition. The remaining 136 passengers have been transferred to other locations. The investigation into the cause of the accident found insufficient reinforcement of protective slopes with concrete and wire mesh. The construction site has a steep slope at the tunnel entrance and is intersected by an overhead high-speed intersection. Even though the site selection process is expected to strictly adhere to relevant regulations and design rules, the tunnel entrance should not be situated in areas prone to landslides, collapses, rock piles, or the risk of dangerous rock rolling. Ideally, the entrance location should be reasonably chosen to avoid creating high slopes and elevations, significant bias, and areas with seriously adverse geological conditions because of shoddy construction practices. On July 20, 2023, the Lerong High-Speed Railway was reported alleged cutbacks and the use of substandard materials concealing significant safety risks. More than half of the threaded piles in some embankment sections have significantly reduced lengths. The Lerong High-Speed Railway is a major project in Shandong Province with a total investment of 29.7 billion yuan, and it is expected to be operational by the end of October 2023. China Construction 8th Bureau is the general contractor for the project. On July 23, 2011, at 20:30, a collision occurred between 2 high-speed trains on the Yongtaiwan Railway in Wenzhou, Zhejiang Province, China. The accident involved train D301, traveling from Beijing South Station to Fuzhou Station, and train D3115 heading from Hangzhou Station to Fuzhou South Station. The collision resulted in 40 fatalities, 172 injuries, a 32-hour and 35-minute suspension of train services, and a direct economic loss of 1937 million yuan. It was also recognized as the most serious railway accident in the mainland in recent years. At that time, a train in the same direction collided with 6 derailed carriages. Later investigations revealed that the train's control center system malfunctioned, and the design of the general contractor had serious flaws, leading to the accident. Premier Wen Jiabao chaired State Council executive meetings on July 27 and August 10, specifically discussing the accident investigation and railway safety. He further clarified requirements for the accident investigation, emphasizing adherence to scientific, rigorous, legal, and objective principles. The investigation was not only expected to identify the immediate causes, but also trace back to the root issues related to design, manufacturing, and management. The direct individuals responsible and relevant leaders would face strict legal accountability, subject to public and social supervision. The goal was to provide the people with a sincere and responsible account of the incident. The reason behind the fact that China is covering up the underlying causes of highway accidents is simple. The widespread revelation of these failures could potentially lead to a reduction in foreign investment in their rail system. Despite pouring a colossal amount of funds into their rail infrastructure, one would anticipate more adept management. A 2019 report estimated the total construction cost to be around $500 billion. What adds a layer of intrigue is that, following the 2011 collapse of the high-speed rail in Wenzhou, the Chinese government, instead of addressing safety concerns and implementing improvements, opted to arrest individuals engaging in discussions about it, striving to suppress media coverage. Shockingly, bulldozers and earthmovers were deployed to bury the train cars with people still inside, a distressing incident that sheds light on China's skewed priorities. Regarding the financial aspect, the operational expenses nearly matched the invested amount, challenging the idea of profitability. Zhao Zhen, a professor at Beijing Jiatong University, highlighted that numerous routes within China's high-speed rail network are not only non-profitable but are substantial financial burdens. Additionally, the debt of China's railway is 3 times that of Evergrande, the property giant currently causing economic concerns in China. The railway debt is rapidly approaching the staggering sum of $1 trillion. Frankly speaking, made in China doesn't immediately evoke thoughts of quality. Despite this stereotype, the Chinese government has allocated significant funds to alter this perception, particularly targeting the younger generation. Beyond investing in the train's physical aspects, they've dedicated resources to influencing non-Chinese individuals, encouraging them to endorse Chinese products. This extensive propaganda campaign has been unyielding, with a multitude of foreigners expressing admiration for China's train system, regardless of its actual quality. You may have encountered some of China's initiatives highlighting its infrastructure, particularly the high-speed rail system. This seemingly harmless flow of promotional content on social media, aiming to foster an affection for trains, was orchestrated by none other than Xi Jinping himself. This initiative extends beyond trains, encompassing a wide range of subjects. It reshapes China's image from a utopian paradise to a strategy for quelling international critics. The highest echelons of leadership deem the promotion of China's high-speed rail network essential for cultivating a positive global perception. It's as if China conducted a targeted propaganda effort and found an overwhelming admiration for trains, perhaps driven solely by the Chinese government's particular affinity for them. Their propaganda endeavors have bordered on the absurd, with state-sponsored media releasing manipulated images of AI trains that defy realism, anticipating people to accept them as genuine. This approach extends beyond trains to encompass lakes, mountains, and diverse landscapes. They generate these AI images, presenting them as authentic in an attempt to showcase China's capabilities. It's almost as if they assume social media users are unaware of the manipulation. The entire scenario is rather amusing. To sum it up, the trains are subpar, prone to frequent accidents, financially unsustainable, and plagued by a high failure rate. Yet, ironically, they manage to evoke envy on a global scale. If you read a newspaper or watch the news, you'll likely hear people praising China for its amazing high-speed rail system. They often say China is doing so well because the government is investing a lot in infrastructure, making their public transportation work efficiently. But what's the truth behind this story? Why do leaders and politicians worldwide applaud China, even when there's a chance things might go wrong? If what I'm saying is correct, why are people admiring China for this? It all comes down to a form of marketing, the kind I mentioned earlier. When you have complete control, as the Chinese government does, propaganda turns into marketing. They can carefully shape how the world sees them, control the story, and shut down criticism. Essentially, they hold all the cards. Dictatorships are quite effective at this. Despite being nearly $1 trillion in debt, poorly built, and financially unsound, China's high-speed rail network keeps running. Corruption often explains how such a problematic industry survives, but there's more to the story. The system persists because there's too much on the line. It's considered too big to fail. If it were to fail, there would be serious consequences, and nobody wants to take the blame. Here's the catch: it's state-owned, not a private venture. So why does the $900 billion debt matter if it's state-owned and there's no external investment? Why does the significant operating loss matter? Can't China just print more money and silence critics since they control everything? Well, looking at economics without using complex terms, it does matter quite a bit. That trillion-dollar debt is owed to various entities: Chinese citizens, officials, pension funds, and possibly institutional investors. Defaulting on this debt would not only upset these creditors, but might also involve institutional investors, causing significant embarrassment for China on the global stage. China tries to present China Railway as privately owned, despite being listed on the stock exchange. Legally, in the event of a default, is the Chinese government merely a shareholder? Borrowers might insist on the government becoming a guarantor or reveal fraudulent practices, exposing corruption and questionable deals. To prevent this, someone might play the nuclear option, pressuring the Chinese government to become a full guarantor, subjecting Chinese government bonds to cross-default. This could trigger a domino effect, affecting all Chinese debt and surpassing the 2015 equity meltdown. This scenario unveils the facade of China being a capitalist country, preventing them from printing money explicitly for China Railway. They aim to avoid being seen as the sole owner of China Railway. A default would deal a severe blow to their image. China Railway is their prized child in the realm of propaganda, and a default could be exploited to criticize Beijing and threaten a statewide debt default. While this outcome seems plausible, the spectacle it would create is fascinating. China is adept at walking a tightrope in these situations. There's a common misconception that the Chinese government plans meticulously for the future, while democracies are viewed as short-sighted, focused only on election cycles. The reality is quite different. China operates reactively and often short-sightedly. For instance, they allow their property market bubble to grow until it bursts, plunging the country into chaos. The government has also been responsible for severe pollution, affecting 99% of China's population due to air pollution and rendering 90% of freshwater sources unusable. Now, with a high-speed rail network nearly $1 trillion in debt, China seeks to project a cool image on social media to foreigners. Despite their knee-jerk reactions, deceptive practices, and bullying tactics, our leaders seem to keep cheering them on. It's a perplexing situation.